Hello from the Art Safari studio in Woodbridge in Suffolk. I'm Claudia Myatt, and I'm going to do a very short demonstration on how to sketch quickly out of doors. And I'm using a scene of our riverbank here in Woodbridge, and I'll show you the kind of thing I do. This is a small sketchbook that's really easy to keep in your pocket, and this is the paint box. And when I'm out sketching either in my kayak or walking on the riverbank, I use a water brush, which has a reservoir to store your water so that you don't have to have a water pot. And you can just squeeze the water out and use it straight from the brush. So I'll show you that in a minute, but I just thought I'd take a look at how you approach a big scene like that, where you might think, where do I start? And the way really is to keep it really simple. So if I was to take a scene like our riverbank and put it in a little box so that you don't end up squeezing too much in. First thing to decide is, where's the horizon going? And if it's a really interesting sky, I might put the horizon quite low down. And the distant trees can go in, your scribbly marks. So pencil sketch first. It's quite a nice way to work out what you're seeing until you build up the confidence to get your actual sketch paints out outside. So this is something that's really easy to do, just a sketchbook and pencil. We might do quite often at different states of tide. We've got reeds and sandbanks and mud and saltings going on. So I'm making the kind of marks that will show. And the water itself, when it's calm, all you get is just bands of light going across like that. And I'll indicate if it's a cloudy day, just a few marks. So you're doing a kind of visual shorthand. You're making a few marks that will kind of express what you're seeing without going into any detail. If you're walking along, quite often this is all you've got time for, and it's really satisfying. Even if that's all you do, there might be a flock of geese or birds up there. Very good for wading birds around here. And quite often there's a few posts to show the channel, which way that's going, a little bit of a reflection. And of course, no picture of the river will be complete without a little boat coming down. So that, you might say, is actually the world's simplest marine painting or marine sketch. And that's well within your reach if you're just a beginner or you're not feeling very confident about your drawing abilities. The thing to do with a boat drawing is make sure the boat's a nice long way away, and then it's going to be easy to draw. And I'll just do a very quick demo of how I would sketch that on location. But I'm going to do it not in my sketchbook, but on a sheet of paper so that it's clear for the camera. And I've got my water pot. I'm in the studio, so I'm using a water pot and an ordinary brush. And you quite often don't need to draw anything to begin with, but I think I'll just put the horizon in. I'll put the outline of the painting in roughly, just so that I know how much sea and how much sky there's going to be. Do it that way around. That's probably enough, because the paint is going to do all the rest of the work. Let me just move this so that you can see the paint and the painting. That should do it. Let's do it that way around. It's better. And the first thing to do is really wake up your paints. If you haven't used them for a while, they tend to go a bit dry. So I will really just get lots of water on them and make sure that I've got plenty of paint, plenty of pigment, a nice big puddle of paint ready to go. I'll do that for all the colours I need, sky colours. That's cerulean blue and alizarin crimson. And then I can go, let's think, what kind of sky was it? Would have been a summer's day with a few clouds coming over, bit of water, bit of paint. The advantage of working on the spot is that you really have to work quite quickly most of the time. And so you grab the essentials, you don't fuss, you don't try and be a camera, you don't try and draw exactly what you're seeing, just try and get an impression of what your experience is, what you're seeing, what you're feeling. The clouds might be moving quite fast. Sometimes just get a wet brush and push that paint around a bit. And nearer the horizon, it might have been late in the day, so it's a bit of crimson. And sometimes around here, there's even a little tiny touch of yellow right down on the horizon. Bit of pink peach color, like that. That's hopefully a bit of a moving sky. And then the tendency when you're painting water is just to do too much. There would have been blue in the water if there was blue in the sky. It's quite often too easy to cover it up because there's always going to be a lot of light in moving water, and it's too easy to cover up all that white paper, and less is usually more. And near the foreground you see more little bits of waves. The marks are broader because you're seeing more of it, but still it's just an impression I'm doing here. Soft blues, mixing in a bit of red, a bit of yellow to make it a bit grayer. Water's not that deep. And if you're working outdoors, then all this will be drying usually really quickly, but in the studio, it's going to take a bit longer. So I'm just going to... And now this paint is quite dry, so I can add some more without it blurring in. And down in the foreground, add some more little ripples and wavelets that would show. Those colours I'm doing this with are cerulean blue and a little tiny bit of cadmium red, just so that you get that grey blue that we get on the river here. So you're just suggesting ripples. You don't need to do every one, just a little bit of an indication. There's a bit of wind blowing the sky and blowing the water. And as you get further away, you see less and less as it all goes into that distance, disappearing into that horizon. There's just a few streaks of light. That's all you can see. And I do a few bits at a time. You can always add marks, but it's very hard to take them away again once you've made them. And I can put in the shoreline, bit of blue and a little bit of yellow, but not too much. So there'll be some trees. I'm just making marks that indicate a raggedy edge. You don't need any detail because it's all in the distance. I'll just get all my colours by mixing 3 primaries. I'll give you all the colours of nature. Keep it simple. You don't need much. You're kind of doing kind of visual shorthand. You just need to make the right kind of marks that make us recognize what it is we're trying to show. We're very good at recognizing shapes. As long as they're roughly right, we'll make a successful sketch. Reflection and shadow under there. It's coming, it's coming. And quite often we have these mud banks and grasses showing through the water at certain states of tide. So what colours do I need for that? Let's get some earthy greens going on. I mix my own greens, gives you a much wider range of colours than taking them straight from the can. So here are the banks of reeds that we have showing above the tide. At high tide, we can kayak right through this. It's like kayaking down your garden. And a bigger boat would soon be sitting on the mud. While things are wet, you can change them, smudge them, get rid of them. A few darker colours, put a bit of red in there. It's just a matter of finding the right marks that express what you want to say. And there's really no substitute from getting out there and just having a go on the spot. You really get, however rough your drawing is, you really get the atmosphere when you're doing it on the spot. If you work in the studio, it helps. You've got those memories to look back on. And of course, the best finishing touch of all, got to be, if it's our river, there's going to be a little tan-sailed boat just coming home on the tide. And the easiest way to draw boats, which can be quite challenging, is to make sure that there are plenty in the distance. And that all you've got to do is the shape of the sails. The wind behind her, she's coming home on the tide, and that's all the detail that you need. And I think that's nearly there. All I need a little bit more colour in the sky, I think. Get a bit of blue, bit of red, and give those clouds a bit of a three-dimensional look. And if you put paint on and you don't like all these hard edges, all you have to do is with a wet brush, soften them up, get the effects you want. And then all we need in the distance, and there are always birds on our river. And that's a really quick, the kind of sketch you might do really quickly on location, walking or sailing down our river. And I hope that's useful. Bye for now.